Babatunde Safiu is the Assistant Director, State Counsel with the Lagos State Ministry of Justice. He holds an LLB from the University of Jos, a BL from the Nigerian Law School, and an LLM from the University of Lagos. He serves as the Head of Legal Services at the Lagos State Office for Disability Affairs, while actively contributing to professional and disability rights associations.
Yeah, good morning all. Yeah, I'm here to present the overview of the legal frame and policies in respect of the assistive. All right. Yes, very well. Yeah, in respect of assistive technology for persons with disability. The legal and policy framework for assistive technology in Nigeria has been very significant. Significant and has been recently strengthened by the passage of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Act 2018. It's a federal law. So, and the journey from the law to effective implementation and widespread access remains a work in progress. So the law, we are still battling to make sure that it is the implementation is well taken to the grassroots that will affect all persons with disability. So the law is the law. Thank God the law is passed. So assistive technology can be defined to be any item, piece of equipment, software program, or product systems that is used to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capacity of persons with disability. It acts as a bridge, closing the gap between a person's ability and the demands of their environment. So rather than for the aid to seek disability as a defect, the assistive devices, assistive technology try to curb it. Assistive technology only focuses on removing barriers, thereby unlocking a world of opportunities in education, employment, daily living, and social participation. I know with the aid of assistive technology, the blind can move around with his guide cane and also access education, whether with JAWS or other assistive materials such as braille devices. And those on with physical disability can also move about on their wheelchair or crutches and other aids. The core principle is that assistive technology enables ability. It does not fix a person's. It does not fix a person. It only empowers them to use their existing skills in order to develop new skills in order to navigate the society, such as in other words, providing another alternative ways of interacting with the world. The Act, that's the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Act, is the most comprehensive and very powerful law regarding the disability rights as far as Nigeria is concerned today. So it's explicitly addressed assistive technology in several key sections, such as slide 4. Section 2 of the Act prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability. So when the law prohibits discrimination, that means when you are employing, you must provide access to the access through technological devices that can facilitate functionality for the person that is employed in an organization. A blind person, you have to provide the person with a computer system with JAWS, that's job access with speech, that will enable such a person to access and do his or her work. And the environment must be accessible for those on wheelchair. So that's what Section 2 says, that there must not be discrimination in any way at all. So Section 3, Sub 1 of the Act, the section is direct, because that one, it says that government shall produce, publish, and encourage the use of basic signs and symbols for the communication and understanding of persons with disability. Produce, publish, and encourage the use of necessary assistive technology and devices for persons with disability. So this is more specific and direct. This is not implied. So the law also supports technology, because you know that today, without technology, persons with disability may not be able to function effectively in the society. Section 6 mandates all public buildings to be more accessible for persons with disability. So it's just like the Section 2 that I said. If Section 2 has been implemented with vigor and without no discrimination, taking into if you are building a structure now, and you take into consideration all persons, including persons with disability, that means you have invariably created an inclusive building, thereby the society. So that's what Section 6 also is talking about, that providing all public buildings must be accessible for persons with disability. So accessible technology like RAM, hearing loops, braille signage, and accessible door mechanisms. Those are some of the technologies that will make a building accessible to persons with the different categories of persons with disability. Section 9 of the law requires employers to make reasonable accommodations for employees with disability in their workforce, so which include the provision of special facilities, assistive devices, and appliances. So it's still almost the same with what we are saying, what I've been saying, also in Section 6. When you provide accessible infrastructures, you also provide accessible equipment, because it's of no use when you employ a person with disability and you fail to provide what he or she will work with in the organization. It's not about favoritism or carrying the person with disability over the non-person with disability. But those are the instruments or equipment a person with disability will need to use to function effectively on an equal basis with those without disability. So section 16 focuses on education. It mandates all public educational institutions to be inclusive and have accessibility for persons with disability and be equipped with necessary facilities, assistive technology and resources. So all educational institutions must have accessible classrooms, lecture rooms, braille books, large print books for those with low vision, sign language interpreters for those with hearing impaired, and also hearing lip, to make the school inclusive and accessible. Section 25 of the Act also established the National Commission for Persons with Disability. So the key function of the body is regulatory and enforcement of the provisions of the law, and also oversees the implementation of this assistive technology by every person in the society, by the government itself, the public and the private sectors. So, other national policies also that talks about disability or implied accessive technology or implied accessive technology for persons with disability, and national policy on disability provides strategic framework for implementing the Act. It outlines specific strategies and actions, including promoting research and development. So the policies encourages local production and adaptation of affordable, accessible technology to reduce dependence on expensive importations. Largely we import all assistive devices used by persons with disability up to the level of guy canes. And I believe the simplest of the devices can even be produced in Nigeria, guy cane. We still import it. So also funding and subsidies. So the employing mechanisms for tax waivers on imported assistive devices and establishing subsidy programs to make them affordable for persons with disability, so that it can be easily affordable and they can make use of it. Training and capacity building. Also, ensuring professionals like the therapists, teachers of persons with disability, technicians, are regularly trained and make use in order to maintain and also make use of these assistive technologies. We will have one organization presently in Lagos that is even saddled with also repairing and these equipment, assistive tech, access tech, sorry. So they are into repairing. So, but we can have more of them, so that because as we said, we import and it's very highly expensive, and also if such, for example, like a braille device used by the blind is faulty, For you to get the parts, you have to send it abroad for it to be repaired. So that's another cost. And these scooters used by those person with physical challenge. The parts of those scooters are not produced here in Nigeria, they are imported. So if you have people that are trained and those parts manufactured in Nigeria, it will really save costs and reduce this cost. Awareness raising. So creating public awareness about the availability and benefits of assistive technology. And that's what CODISA is doing here today. At least CODISA is promoting and also telling the public the importance of assistive technology to persons with disability. So I, in person, am lauding their efforts in doing that. So other relevant laws and policies. So the National Health Care 2014. So why not, though not explicit in mentioning assistive technology, but it established a framework for national health scheme. So, and if you establish a national health scheme for everybody, with the passage of the Lagos, the Discrimination Against Persons with Prohibition Act, so they have no choice than to make provisions for persons with disability, and they must provide as assistive devices for everybody, such as wheelchair, hearing aids, and prostheses in their in all primary health care level. They must provide it there because it's of no use a person going to access health and getting there, it does not have access to move around. And also the building also must be accessible. The National Policy on Inclusive Education 2016. This policy also strengthens advocacy for the use of assistive technology to support the learning of children with disability and in mainstreaming schools. It calls for provisions of devices like screen readers. Screen readers is what the blind use to access the information on computer, braille materials, large print, and adaptable softwares. So the Sustainable Development Goal, SDG. Though Nigeria is committed to the UN SDG, but it's not a Nigerian law, but Nigeria is committed to it. So particularly, go for quality education. Go 10, reduce inequality. Implicitly supports the provision of assistive technology as a means of achieving inclusive development. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability is an international law, a United Nations law that has been ratified by Nigeria in the year 2007. So, and the Discrimination Against the Persons Prohibition Act is an offshoot of that. United Nations Convention on the Right of Persons with Disability. So Article 4, Article 20 of the law obliges all the states, that is all countries, to measure to measure and provide affordable assistive technology and facilitate access to it for persons with disability. So those are some of the main laws that also assist persons with disability. Then, like, a person with disability can cite or they can use for to actualize their rights. So we also have agencies of government that are in charge of persons with disability or implementation of these policies and legal framework. As I have said earlier, the National Commission for Persons with Disability, it is the body saddled with the enforcement of the discrimination against persons with disability. The Act established the body, so it's an agency of government. So, and it's also in charge of monitoring to make sure that this assistive technology is being provided in schools, in health facilities, and in public buildings. We also have Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, and Social Development. It is the ministry that oversees the commission, the Disability Commission. We also have Ministry of Health, responsible for provision of assistive technology within the health sector. So there's also Ministry of Education, responsible for implementing inclusive education policies and legal framework for persons with disability within the educational sectors. We also have National Agency for Science and Engineering in Infrastructure, that's NACINI. This is the agency mandated to promote local technological development, which could encompasses the design and manufacturing of assistive technology. So now moving to challenges. So despite the robust legal framework, significant challenges persist. One, lack of specific implementation guidelines. So the law exists, but there's no specific guidelines mandating provisions for assistive technology. The law itself, when the law is passed, there are a lot of sections that are needed to be elaborated upon. So it is the guidelines and the regulations that will provide explicit explanation on how each of the sections or provisions of the law be carried out. So that one is still in short. This thing. Then we have funding and availability. Assistive technology is often very expensive, and there is no widespread national subsidy or health insurance scheme that covers the full cost for citizens with disability. So we also have low local production. So I've said earlier, all our assistive devices are being imported So we need subsidy and even tax waivers where they are not employed, and we need encouragement for local companies to start producing them in Nigeria. And also, we have awareness and capacity building. So persons with disability, their family, and even service providers are not fully aware of types of assistive technology available. So a lot of people are not aware of type of technology that is even available to even assist them. So there's need for awareness and also training of the professionals on how to maintain them. There is infrastructural gap. So there should be the intermittent electricity and poor internet connectivities also limits the effectiveness of power independent and digital assistive technology. So those are just the challenges we have. So in conclusion, Nigeria has made a huge leap forward with the passage of the Discrimination Against Persons Prohibition Act 2018. This provides a strong legal foundation for the right to assistive technology. The focus has now rightly shifted to implementation. The success of these laws and policies will depend on, one, the political will and adequate funding. So all what we are saying about the access and affordable waiver tax is all about political will. And where there is no political will, it will be very difficult to achieve. And the development of clear national assistive technology program with sustainable funding. So that one should also be provided for. There is public and private partnership to develop local innovations, production and distribution of assistive aids, continuous awareness campaign, and capacity building. The framework is promising, but the tangible impact on the delay leaves the estimated 25 to 30 million persons with disability is still unfolding. So, thank you for listening.